Hello and welcome to the Advanced Data Manipulation with Studio module. In this video, our focus will be on filtering the invoice data using LINQ. We'll build a process that first filters out overdue invoices from a specific date using LINQ. After that, we'll check if there are any invoices with a total amount exceeding 100,000. Have your pre-built Studio project ready. Let's begin. Let's go through our workflows. The first one logs in and extracts data from the ACME website. The second one filters the invoices. And the third one serves as the main workflow where we invoke both workflows. If you've already built or downloaded the first workflow, LoginAndExtractData, incorporate it into this project and start working on the second workflow by following this video. Given that we've already created the Filter Invoice Data workflow, let's open it and start adding the activities. We use this workflow to filter the invoice data extracted from the ACME website. Let's add a log message with start:filter invoice data. Create an input argument in_invoicesdt. This argument will store the data table that we extract from the ACME website. Now change its type to data table. Okay, let's create variables that we'll use in this workflow. To store all of the filtered invoices, create the first variable dt_filtered invoices. Change its type to data table. Second, filtered INV_str to store the data table in string format. Next is any large totals. We'll change its type to Boolean since we'll use this variable to check if any invoice has a value greater than 100,000. Let's create another variable with the name givenDate_str. And give it a default date, which is the 1st of May 2018, so that we can compare the overdue invoices with this date. Okay, now we want to extract the invoices from the ACME website. To populate our input argument in_invoicesdt. To extract the table, click on Table Extraction. Click on the Add New Column. Select the data from the invoice data table. And click on Yes to extract all of the columns from the table. To check the preview of the table, click on the Preview button in the Table Extraction window. Let's save it as a CSV file by clicking on the Export as CSV button. Navigate to the location where you want to save this file and click the Save button. Close the Preview window and the Table Extraction window. Since we've already saved our data, we don't want to save it here before closing the table scraping wizard. Click on No. Okay, now add a Read CSV activity. To read the extracted data, click on the Folder option, select the CSV file that we extracted. To store the data, add the previously created argument. Let's give this activity a proper name. To continue filtering the data, add an Assign activity now. In the To field, assign the variable that we created earlier to hold the filtered invoices. Now, time to write the expression for filtering the invoices using LINQ queries. Our goal here is to pick out the rows with total amounts in US dollars. To do this, we use AsEnumerable to filter the rows. The outcome of this query will be an array of rows, so let's transfer it to the data table by using Copy to Data Table. Okay, let's add some more LINQ queries to add an additional condition for the overdue invoices. Let's take a moment to understand what we've just added. Since we want to exclude the row with 0000 in the date column, which represents an invalid date format, you can observe it on the ACME Invoice page. Next, we want to pass the row using YYYY-MM-DD format. And after we obtain the date time, we compare its value with the given string, which is the 1st of May 2018 in this case. click on OK. Let's rename the activity. Let's add an output data table activity to verify the output. Enter the data table in which we stored the filtered data table. From the Properties panel, let's select the filtered INV str variable to display the output in string format. And let's add a log message activity to display the filtered data table. Great! Let's run the process and see the progress that we've made so far. The execution ran successfully. Great! In the Output panel, we can see that all of the invoices extracted are those with a total in US dollars and prior to the 1st of May 2018, which are the overdue invoices. All great till now. For the next step, we want to arrange all of the filtered invoices in descending order. To achieve this, let's eliminate the currency, which in this case is US dollars, from the invoice total value. For this, let's add an invoke code activity. To send the data table as an argument, click on the Edit argument. In the name field, add DT_filtered invoices. In the value field, add the data table which contains the filtered data table, and change the type to data table. OK, now let's write the code to remove the currency in the Edit Code section. Here, we're eliminating the currency from the total value for each row. We're accomplishing this by splitting the total and currency using the space as a separator. As you can observe, there's a space between the amount and the currency. We'll discard that space and retain only the first item, which is the numeric value that we need for arranging them in descending order. And let's give this activity an appropriate name. OK, the next step is to order descending table rows by column total. Let's do this by adding an assign activity. Enter the filtered invoice data table into the To field. Open the expression editor and write the LINQ query to arrange them in descending order. Here, we're arranging all of the rows in descending order based on the total column. Convert them into an integer by using int, and then we copy them into the data table. Let's rename this activity also. OK, before executing the workflow, let's rearrange the output data table and log message activity to view the results. And let's run it. We can see that the total no longer includes USD, and all of the rows are now organized in descending order. The next step involves checking if any of the invoice totals in the filtered table are greater than 100,000. We'll save the outcome of this LINQ operation in the Any Large Totals variable, which we've previously set up. Let's add an assign activity to perform this. Enter the variable name in the To field. Open the expression editor and add another LINQ query to verify this condition. Here, we're filtering the rows whose value in the total column is greater than 100,000. Rename the activity. Let's add a log message activity to check the output and write a message to clearly identify which row has a value greater than 100,000. Let's run and check the output. The displayed value is true because the data table contains invoices that exceed 100,000. And that's all about the filter invoice data workflow. Before we proceed, let's disable the Test Data Read CSV activity in the Filter Invoice Data workflow. We're doing this because we intend to invoke it from the main workflow using the data extracted from the initial workflow. For the last part of this demo, we'll invoke both workflows, the Login and Extract Data and the Filter Invoice Data in main. Note that to run the first workflow that you've already downloaded, you need to log out from the ACME website if you're currently logged in and close the browser. In main, let's create a data table variable called dt_invoices. Here, in the same project, you can either create the login and extract data workflow by following the steps provided in this course, or you can download it and add it to your project. Okay, now let's invoke both the workflows into the main workflow. Let's configure settings in the main workflow for the invoked arguments. Add the local variable we just created to the value section of the workflow. Awesome, let's run our process one last time. In high-level steps, our process starts by logging into the ACME website. Then it navigates to the Invoices page, extracts the data table, and closes the browser. Great, let's check the output. It starts with logging and extracting data. We observe the bot filtering the data table. We notice the bot removing the currency from the total column and displaying all of the overdue invoices in descending order here. Additionally, we also observe invoices with a total exceeding 100,000. And that concludes our demo on filtering invoice data using LINQ. For the key takeaways, we can use LINQ queries to filter overdue invoices. We can use invoke code activity with LINQ to remove the currency from the total column. We can use LINQ to arrange the total column in ascending or descending order. We can use LINQ to verify if any of the invoice totals are greater than 100,000. Thank you for watching, and until next time, happy automation!